Because there could be challenges in having to pay at some stores or anywhere that you find POS machines. Sometimes you have to go back to the ATM to withdraw and pay cash. I've had an instance. I was affected in this case. I went to buy at the supermarket, and after giving them my card to pay, there was no. They actually deducted my money really, without having to show any record that I paid, because they sent me an alert that money has been deducted.
But well, that will be refunded, I'm sure.
It hasn't been refunded, and that's another issue entirely.
Okay.
That's just a challenge. If I had my cash with me, and perhaps I didn't have my issuer bank ATM around me, I'll have to pay for that charges because of the financial. It all boils down to what is the level of effectiveness of the financial inclusion program of the central bank. To what extent has that been tackled? The technical details and the challenges surrounding interconnectivity in this case.
Yeah, it's been tackled. You agree with me that it's not a problem that we just fizzle away one day. So many things have been done to tackle it. We've engaged the card schemes in discussions. We've engaged the switches. Even the major merchants have been engaged. So in Nigeria, we have those that are called PTSPs, that's Payment Terminal Service Providers. Their main job is to deploy POS, that's point of sales terminals, to educate the merchants, to educate the salespersons. And CBN is actually working in collaboration with the Bankers Committee to come out with incentive schemes, much more than what you have now. Because you agree with me that as a card holder, when you make transactions on POS now, every month you get a cashback. That has been in existence even since last year. These are part of the ways by which the use of alternative channels of payment, other than the withdrawal of cash from an ATM, is being encouraged. And another thing that we need to put on record is that Central Bank has also done a lot of work with the mobile money operators. Just last week, the governor even had a meeting with the mobile network operators, the MNO, the telcos. He had a meeting with them to discuss issues on how the system could be made better so that it could work. It's not only in Nigeria that probably you go to a POS and maybe it doesn't work. It happens everywhere. But we are reducing the frequency. And also other channels like the use of your mobile phone, where you don't even have to carry a card on you. You use your phone, you walk into a merchant. Some merchants here in Lagos and some other parts of Nigeria are already accepting payments through the use of mobile phones.
All right.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to Shegun quickly. I know that as someone who is working in a commercial bank, you would have perhaps observed this. Do you think that since the withdrawal of the ATM charges 2 years ago, did it affect in any way, apart now that I'll come back to Dikbo, how did it affect the banks really? I just want to know.
Well, anytime you take a dime from any man, you affect him. You know, you had to, initially you were charging 100 naira, which is distributed between the three parties largely. But eventually you took out everything. Then it means that the banks that are servicing you, your primary bank, would have to pay for that service on your behalf. And that's quite expensive. Given the fact that, for example, the central bank is looking at removal of commission on turnover, looking at other, even reducing interest rate and all of that. Now, it means that, and that's global really, you see pressure on bank income. People look at the fact that some banks declare multi-billion as income, and they say banks are making a lot of money. In volume and in terms of reporting, it's actually true. However, in terms of regulatory requirement for banks to remain in operations and open shop on daily basis for you to access that service, that money is not a lot.
Does that mean the banks should now have to seek other sources of income?
Well, yes, not that. We actually
because
have to
the central bank here had cut down on all the avenues in which to make money, so to speak, the COT.
Not all.
Most of them. Okay.
They're pushing us into innovation. Yes. What that means is that we need to get into product innovation so that we can people are yearning for services and product to acquire. I mean, we give blanket mortgages. There are different types of mortgages, but in Nigeria it's the same mortgage system that we are in. So we need to talk about that. We talk about consumer loans. They are largely about the same thing that we all sell. We need to think about that. And many more things, lifestyle access to funding. So there are a lot of accesses that we need to create for people and businesses which are not currently available. Maybe because of infrastructure, for example. For example, today, on the retail side, for example, because I can't really tell where you live. You can take money from a bank and move from Victoria Island and move into Lekki and Ajah, and I can't find you again. Which is why the issue of identity management as a national program becomes important.
And that takes us to the BVN thing.
Yeah.
Really, just before we wrap up, I'd like us to talk on that before we close the show. Dipo,
Yes.
the bank verification number, how would you assess it since the central bank inaugurated this?
The rate of progress has been slow, that we must admit, but that is being addressed critically. You will notice that it was one of the issues that was discussed after at the last Bankers Committee meeting, and even from some press statements were issued based on that. The target actually is that between now and the end of the year, the largest percentage of bank customers will have been captured on the BVN. As you are aware, the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, that is NIPS, is the central depository for the information, and they are the technical partners to the Bankers Committee on the project. They have put up a lot of proposals that, when implemented, this will be achieved. Bearing in mind also that the product was launched just in February 14 this year, and up till June, the pilot test was done only on bank staff of banks. It was only in July that we started capturing the banking populace, that is the bank customers, which is less than 2 months from now. But definitely the rate of progress can be more than that, and it will be more than that. Various strategies are being put in place, which I may not be able to discuss here, but it will, very soon you will see a lot of improvement in the enrollment. Right. And of course, to add to that is the fact that education and enlightenment of the customers will have to be added to on a larger scale.
Segun, how have bank customers been responding to BVN program?
I would say that people are excited. The fact that they will get something that helps them to also provide an identity for themselves. You would know that a lot of people don't even have a form of identity. And that's one of the challenges we're having with banking, the informal sector, because they can't provide certain documentation. So with BVN, you're actually providing more than what we think we're providing. The volume of access we're going to create for the banking populace, largely the informal sector, that is probably out of banking as we speak, because they could not meet certain documentation level. It's been expanded now, and it's giving confidence to people and acceptability. Because when you sit before the camera as somebody and you ask certain questions, you feel like you belong to a system. And that is what we're trying to do here. And once customers start to imbibe that and they begin to enjoy the services coming along with it in terms of being able to check their information across banking network, they travel from Lagos to Ibadan to Kaduna to Maiduguri, and they are able to find themselves as the same person. They get proud of what they get. Okay. And I think that's what it is about.
This is where we have to end this conversation. Thank you, gentlemen. Dipo Fatoku, Director, Banking and Payment System Department of the Central Bank. Thank you. And Segun Akonji, Head of Investment Banking at Heritage Bank. Earlier on, we had Gabriel Idahosa. He's an economist and also the CEO of UHY Margie and Company. And we have been looking at the banking sector, various initiatives being put in place by the Central Bank to move the sector forward. And that's where we'll wrap it here on Business Morning. Thank you, everyone out there, for also being a part of the program. We do appreciate your time with us on the show. I am Bolaji Akinwale. News Track is up next.